It's Deprogrammed. My name is Justin, and we are the podcast where one of these days I'm going to do this right. It's as many times as I've done this freaking show, literally 4 years today, you would think I'd get the intro right. My name is Justin, that is true, and the name of the show is Deprogrammed, that is also true, but we are the podcast where we want to get you into a band, and we've done all the work for you. We've combed through discographies, and we're going to attempt to create a top 10 starter kit to get you into this band. And today's band is the Get Up Kids. And you know what? Look, I'm going to get up and tell you that hard work works. I wasn't sure if you knew that, but it works. There's a fitness app that you can search in your app store. Download that jank, purchase your membership for only $10 a month. So, look, it's only $10 a month, and here's what you're getting with that. 3 new workouts every week designed for minimal to no equipment at all. All ages and ability levels. You can literally work out everywhere, anywhere in the world. I work out in my bedroom, and with no equipment. And there's no long-term obligations. Cancel anytime. Keep all your workouts. Decide, commit, succeed. Hard work works, and join the hustle. Hashtag join the hustle. I do this jank, and it's the best $10 I spend a month, and I'm going to get in peak physical condition this year. You understand, if you will. That's a sell. Today's band, we're talking about the Get Up Kids. So this was an interesting panel that came together because, so let's start with you, Ryan. You're the vet here. You put the Get Up Kids out there, like maybe in December?
Yeah, probably around then.
And I feel like it was somewhere around when we did the Promise Ring episode. And our second panelist making his first appearance is Adam Hansen. Adam, you wanted to do the Promise Ring episode, but you didn't see the post until literally the day we were doing it.
That's right. Desperately.
But then you saw the Get Up Kids and you're like, oh, I want in on that. So I feel like it's one of the fastest panels we've ever filled. Yes. So we will get into the specifics of the band, but Ryan, walk me through the Get Up Kids. Why did we have to do the Get Up Kids?
Well, it was probably right around the time, like you said, of the Promise Ring, and they both fit into that Midwestern emo category. They both kind of came up around the same time, and I came across them probably in high school, or probably middle school, I'd say. I saw someone have one of their songs on their MySpace page. I was like, oh, I really dig that song. Really cool album cover. And the album was something to write home about. And I gave that a listen front to back. And I'd still put that probably in my perfect album category, too. It's got everything I'm looking for. Great hooks, fast pop punk songs, slow ballads. I mean, it's got it all. So then I dove into their discography, and I'd say, they probably have one of the strongest discographies out of any of these Midwestern emo bands. I'd say except for one album, there's kind of one glaring weak point, but I'm curious. I'm sure we'll get to that at some point.
I'm curious if it's the same one that I got a feeling from. Yeah, but super strong discography. Now, Adam, this is your maiden voyage here. Yeah. Why was it the Get Up Kids that you had to get in on?
Well, like I said, I was so pissed when I found out the Promise Ring happened because I love them so much. And I listened to that episode, and Ryan, I can't wait to talk to you about the Get Up Kids because you had a lot to say about the Promise Ring, and I found myself going like, yeah, he's exactly right a lot of times. And so I found out about these guys by accident when I was in high school. I went to a show in Richmond with some friends and my girlfriend at the time, and I was going to see this band Koufax that I loved. And they were playing with the Anniversary and the Get Up Kids. I didn't know who can we swear on here?
Yeah.
I didn't know who the fuck Get Up Kids were. And I actually spent that show, I watched Koufax and spent the rest of the show basically in another room with my girlfriend, just holding hands and being cute, while people were going ape shit over Get Up Kids, because it must have been right after Something to Write Home About came out. And I heard some stuff from the other room. I was like, this is really good. And so it just became kind of like great summer listening for me and everybody I knew.
So I had never heard of the Get Up Kids before this, which is, I mean, it's pretty frequent nowadays with this show, but so they don't live in that Justin vein like a lot of for a band that doesn't live in the Justin vein, I am surprised at how well I gravitated towards this band. Like Ryan said, like this discography is super strong. Like our list, this is one of those bands where like the conversation like about who they are and what they do is much more important than the list. I struggled mightily. Like the first time through, I feel like I still had like half the discography. And I'm like, well, where the hell are these cuts supposed to come from? And then like Ryan mentioned, there was an album that I was like, okay, this is a really good album. I enjoy it, but I feel like it doesn't really represent what they do as a whole. So like I started making cuts from there.
Which album is it?
All right, so if we're gonna
let's get into it.
I'm trying to remember the name, but I ended up with a pretty even amount. So there are rules rather.
Yep,
Yeah.
that's the one.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, good. So we're all on the same page. Great album. I actually really did enjoy it. And so okay, I'll save my thoughts on that specifically. But let's talk about Ryan putting your 20 together and knowing this about There Are Rules and that all of us are on the same page with it.
Well, I will say that I think this is my third or fourth deprogrammed, and this was by far the hardest one I've had to do. Like I mentioned before, I really gravitated towards the earlier albums, and when On a Wire came out, I was not really a fan of it. It's definitely a shift. Like if you listen to Something to Write Home About, you know, you start On a Wire and it starts with an acoustic song, and you're like, what is this? You know, and I didn't really like it for the first, for quite a while, and then once I came back to it and gave it a shot, super strong album, and it holds up against, I'd say, any of their other albums. So yeah, my first pass had like 37 songs. It was tough. Trying to cut off some of my favorite albums was tough, but I tried to keep a good blend between all the albums to try to get a bit of their sound as they matured and their earlier sound as well.
So this being your first episode, Adam, what was it like trying to comb through this discography and pull out 20 songs?
This was a pain in the ass.
Welcome to my world, my friend.
Yeah, so like I came at this and I was like, okay, it was sort of common knowledge at the time, like when On a Wire, was it called Something on a Wire or On a Wire? When that album came out, like it was just sort of like common knowledge, this isn't a good album, don't bother listening to it. And so I didn't. And so like I just stopped there with Get Up Kids, and everything I liked from them was prior to that. So when I was going to come do this, I was like, well, let me like try to pull myself out of it for a second, be objective. I'm not going to just say the best songs are the ones that I like and nothing else. I really went into the later stuff with a fresh head and said like, what do I love about this? What's good about this later stuff? And where can I like pull things? And I talked to a couple people about it, and everyone was just like, just go in and be honest. Just don't try to like, who you being nice to by trying to like make sure you include things from every album. Just go in and talk about what you like. And so that's what I'm going to do.
So for me, looking over my list again, I noticed that I do have like a representation from, and it wasn't on purpose. It kind of just worked out that way, that I have something from every album. And even though it wasn't my favorite album, I'm looking at this and Problems actually has the most songs from it. I think I was the most surprised with Problems. You feel like a band like this, and then you had There Are Rules, where I was like, okay, well, maybe this is the dying point. This is where like the easy cuts will start coming from. And I listened to Problems. I'm like, oh no, that's a good bounce back.
Yeah.
And that probably played into why I ended up keeping a lot of the tunes, but very even discography. Every cut hurt.
Oh yeah, like they have their sound. You know what I mean? It started off with that early, pop punk kind of style, and then you can definitely see the maturity. I'd say, like I mentioned before, I'm not a fan of There Are Rules. That was just a tough album for me. But then to come out with Problems last year, I think that album stands up with anything in their discography.
Absolutely.
Like if you play a couple of those songs, you might even think, oh, this is an old Get Up Kid song I hadn't heard before.
It does have that feel. It's kind of like it's a return to form for sure.
And so whenever I get a band with an even discography like this, it's like, I hate to compare him to Chevelle, but like episode wise, like that's the comparison. Like Chevelle was difficult because it was 90 something songs. It was 9 albums, and the quality never drops. Like every album is good in its own way. And so with the Get Up Kids, I'm just searching for stuff like, oh well, the production's a little off. Like the first album, the production's a little off. I'm gonna have to I'll ding it for that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's bad. It's really bad.
And you know, I think about those songs, and it's just like, man, they're good, and that's what they sound like. But like, I gotta have cuts. Something's gotta go. And so like as I'm listening to it, I'm like, okay, well, as they matured, like the difference between the first 2 records, first of all, the production in the second record, that's what solidified my decisions for me. I'm like, the production on the second record is infinitely better than this first one.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a stupid reason to cut stuff, but you got to do it. You got to get to 20 somehow. And that's how I did it. But again, I don't know that there's a wrong 10 we can present here. I feel like I'm going to be pretty agreeable. I don't know that there's but maybe a handful that I really am going to fight for, because they all feel like the Get Up Kids to me.
Mm-hmm.
And while that doesn't always make for a great show as far as like making the list, to me that just speaks to how good this band is. So
one of my big things has been like, when I listen to a song by them and I'm trying to like narrow down my list, I'm thinking, what song do I want to hear again? Like, what song do I remember right after I listen to it? And there's a lot of them that I admit, like, I don't remember them right after I listen to them, because a lot of his vocal, like, maneuvers and patterns are very similar. And so you can kind of go like, okay, these 10 songs all sound like this one song, and that's the best one of them.
There you go. Yeah.
So,
yeah. Well, yeah. You have to make some executive decisions somewhere. So the name of the game is Deprogram, folks, and we've each combed through the Get Up Kids discography and pulled out 20 songs that we are now going to mash together, boom, in an attempt to create a top 10 starter kit for you, in case somehow, like me, you never heard of the Get Up Kids. And I'm going to start here, and actually I was listening to them as I was getting ready this morning. I was, just kind of refining where I want, because I didn't have a definitive one until this morning. And I still don't think this is a definitive one, other than, like you said, Adam, like I immediately found myself singing along with it, and I was like, okay, so this one got me real good. So I'm going to start here. The One You Want.
Nope.
Oh, off of The Guilt Show.
mm-mm.
Oh, okay. I'm starting in the trash. Right into the trash. Okay. All right.
What made you think that was your a great starter for you?
That's just it. I didn't have a great starter, and I was just listening to it, and I found myself singing along, and I was like, okay, this feels like what they do. Like, so apparently I was wrong.
Again, like I
so
said,
wrong.
I battled with this list. I'm still not happy with it. I love that song as well, but
Okay, well,
got to make cuts somewhere.
you're right though, and this is where I feel like it'll be bloody, but in like a Black Sabbath type way, where like there's just so many good ones to pick from. It's not going to be like us fighting over stuff. It's going to be finding the common ground.
Yeah.
So, all right, we'll start in studio. Adam.
Okay, so I'm gonna start with a controversial pick.
Ooh,
Woodson.
I got it.
Yeah.
I wish I did. I had to cut that one, but that's a classic Get Up Kid song right there.
All right. Well, so it moves into the conversation. I think it was you, Ryan, who actually, I don't remember. One of y'all suggested, hey, make sure we get the EPs. And it was Red Letter Day and Woodson.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I had already started my list when it may have been you, because it may have been I already put out the list and you were like, hey, what about these? These need to be in there.
Yeah.
And I'm glad you did.
Yeah.
Because even though they have some of those production woes that the first album has, I feel like the songs are stronger, and I gravitated to them a little bit more. So I'm glad you insisted.
Oh, good.
But Woodson goes into the conversation. All right, so we got something. Ryan?
All right, so this is something I think they do very well, and it's right up Justin's alley, is album opening tracks.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to start with Holiday.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. There
that
we go.
big giant pick scrape to start the song, and
Uh-huh.
it just hits you right in the face.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Well, and see, and that right there, that song specifically is where I go, okay, so I can start cutting stuff from the first album, because I heard that and I was like, no, they can do better production wise. Again, it's a stupid reason to cut songs, but like hearing that, knowing that that's what we're getting from here on out, it's like, okay, so I need to make room for everything on this album after, because it's gonna sound better. So yeah, we got one, guys. Yeah.
Yay.
Holiday is in. All right, I'm going to stay at the top here. And again, this is one of the few songs that lived in my head for a little while. Like, there's plenty of songs I found myself singing, but this one I found myself singing immediately after, and then I found myself just singing randomly throughout the course of however long this one's been in the stew. Mass Pike.
Yes.
Oh yeah,
Oh, all right.
yeah, that one hits home. I mean,
Yeah.
the Mass Pike. It's where I'm from.
So it's like, what's the line? Last night on the Mass Pike. So it's got that catchiness. And what's funny is I didn't think of this until some of the where they were experimenting with their sound a little bit, but I was like, oh, like I feel Adam pulling from Get Up Kids for Pet Name. Like, again, it's not apples to apples, but like I can hear the influence, and this is one of those songs where I was like, okay, now I see where I love Pet Name,
Thank you.
I see where you're pulling from now.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's a place for sure. That Mass Pike is one of the first. It is the first Get Up Kids song that I remember hearing and loving.
So we got it. There we go. Unanimous decision. Now I feel better because I struck out big time on the first one. All right, Adam.
Okay, I'm gonna say Valentine.
Nope.
That's one of the few I had to cut from something.
I don't even remember if
I get it.
at this point, I don't even know if it was on my radar. I feel like it probably was, but
It's a little bit of a slower number, but
Maybe-
it's really good.
again, you find reasons to cut stuff, and that may have been it.
Yep.
Because it was slower. All right. Ryan?
I'm gonna stick with the album openers here, and I'm gonna go with Overdue.
I said no on
Nope.
that one.
Nope.
It is a good song.
Well, they
Again,
don't-
that song kind of turned me off when I first heard it, because coming off Something to Write Home About, I was expecting another holiday, and they start with a slow acoustic song. But
see, now that you say that, that's exactly why. Not that it's bad, but that's exactly why I cut it out. Slower acoustic jam, and I don't think that I found myself coming to number one, what defines them, and number two, how am I going to turn somebody on? And so,
Right.
not that there might be acoustic tunes that I pulled through, but I'm not. If I'm trying to turn somebody on to the Get Up Kids, I'm not pointing towards their acoustic stuff. Just like I'm not going to point to There Are Rules. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not going to go,
that's
hey.
true. But I definitely say that's part of their sound. I mean, for sure, a couple of those songs, especially on that album, and the slower ones on Something to Write Home About, kind of it's part of them. But yeah, I know what you're saying. You kind of want to find those songs that pull you in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's like they had done Overdue's a cool song, but it's like they had done that exact thing much better before. And so it's like, all right, if you're going to narrow it down to one really strong acoustic starting song, that's not it.
I think that I don't know if it came out on my list. Like right now, I'm not recalling, but like that's how I boiled it down to. All right, I'm gonna stay with the ones that like really caught me. Like they were really catchy. Stay at the top here. The Worst Idea.
Yes, I have that.
Okay, into the combo. Glad I wasn't like way on a wire. Yeah. I've said all I can say already about catchiness and stuff. All right, Adam?
How about Close to Home?
Yep, that was the first song I heard by them.
It's got that great intro line, "Summer swallowed us whole," and it just feels like, yeah, that's real vibes.
Close to home. Apparently no. I feel like if I looked back, if I could see where the cuts got made, I guarantee you I probably had almost all of Something to Write Home About.
I still kind of do.
Me too. I've got most of it on here.
Oh man, see, I should have. Okay,
I've got other stuff too. I've got backups.
I should have. I should have went with my gut then. All right, Ryan.
I'll go to the EPs. Forgive and Forget.
Yeah, I've got that.
Okay, I don't. Forgive and Forget, but that one was absolutely on my radar. That one I remember specifically being on.
All Good Things Have Endings. Oh, I love that song.
Yeah.
So here's something we haven't even touched upon. Like, it's rare when there's a band. Like, usually I gravitate towards the music first. I'm a guitar guy. I want to hear your guitars and stuff. I found myself gravitating towards the lyrics a lot. Now, I don't have a lot to say about, like, they didn't stick with me, like, enough for me to be able to bring it to the table. But, like, I definitely found myself, again, singing along after first listen. And, like, I really... With emo-ish bands like this, it's rare that the lyrics get me first. I guess is what I'm getting at. It's usually the guitars, and then I finally come around to the lyrics. It was the other way around with this band, and so when I started making cuts, while I won't be able to point to specific examples, which is the one thing that sucks about this show. I listen to too many bands to be able to keep it all sorted in my head. I wanted to note that great lyrics in these tunes. So, all right. So
yeah, completely agree. I have so many of their lines just kind of ingrained in my brain, you know, especially because they're catchy hooks and everything like that. I'm like, oh, why do I know these lyrics? And yeah, they really resonate.
This is something, if I can say a word about the way that he does vocals, the way he writes, it's like a lot of the earlier stuff, it's like jam packed full of these like great little lines. And like you said, you just kind of hook onto them. And that was something I didn't find as much in the later songs. Like, I was looking for, like, give me like a little lyric that I want to sing while I'm air drumming in my car. And I just didn't find as many of them.
And I think Forgive and Forget, I believe it's the other guitar player is singing that song. You can kind of tell the different vocal styles.
I wonder if he writes the ones that he sings.
Who, the other guitar player?
Yeah,
I don't know, but he definitely has a different kind of more raw sounding voice as opposed to Matt Pryor.
Right.
I'm going to trot something out here from the first album. Don't Hate Me.
I've got it.
Oh yeah, that's like their classic right there.
Oh, there we go. I was worried about that one. No need to be, Justin. Sometimes you're right. All right. Adam.
10 minutes.
Yep.
Okay. No, I don't, but since...
And I think that's sung by the other...
Yes, it is, yeah.
Sometimes I love when I hear, like, the songs that I don't have, because I try to remember what it was that made me cut it. And because I'd be
curious, especially with that one. That's kind of their song, you know, like if you go to one of those emo nights, if they're playing a Get Up Kid song, it's going to be 10 minutes. I think they usually end their shows with 10 minutes as well.
Well, I almost cut it myself, but the beginning, like the first half is so strong, and the second half is just, it doesn't really hold up, but the first half is just strong enough where...
Which album is that? Why am I not seeing it in my master list?
Something to Write Home About.
Yeah.
Oh. Okay, I'm stupid. I do have it.
Is that unanimous?
That's unanimous.
Hey.
All right. Feeling good. We have 4 all the way through, 4 in the conversation. All right, Ryan?
I'm going to go to Problems, and I'll go with Satellite.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got that.
Oh!
Yeah, that's the song I'm thinking of. If you put that on and someone doesn't know that's a new Get Up Kid song, you would think that's an older song.
Yeah.
Sure.
Again, like I got that vibe immediately, and I don't know if it was just because how I felt about There Are Rules, or if it really is just like a return to form for them, like as far as like they went in consciously going, now let's rein it back a little. Let's kind of go with our guts and go with what got us here, essentially. I don't mind a band taking leaps.
Totally.
And again, I hate to keep dumping all over There Are Rules. I think it's a good album. it's just not the one I would go to get somebody into the band.
I do not think it's a good album.
I do not think it's a good album at all.
I don't know what they were listening to when they did that. Like the Killers, or like I have no idea. It's just like there's no songwriting there. It's just weird instrumentation.
Oh, and I dig weird instrumentation. So like I think maybe that's probably one of those albums where like it was the instruments getting me in, I guess.
Yeah, they do a good job bringing in cool stuff, and there's a lot of neat dynamics, but I don't know what they were thinking.
It doesn't sound like Get Up Kids to me.
Even like a different version of Get Up Kids, it doesn't sound like. It's just like it's a different band, and if I heard it on its own, I'd be like, I don't care about this band.
And see, now that's fair, because I think what gets the pass for me is listening to it within the bounds of the rest of the discography. Even though like it clearly is the outlier, it clearly is bottom, they had earned all this trust with the previous albums for me. So like I was giving stuff passes.
That makes sense.
So,
but I'm pretty sure around that time, it might have been after, or they took I think like a 3-year hiatus. So there might have been, some creative differences or something going on, because it just seems like such a drastic change from the rest of their albums.
It's weird because like so I hate to compare them to Green Day and Blink and stuff, but when you listen to like the new Green Day song, I need to hear it in the context of the album. But it's like this attempt to stay relevant, clearly, and it's like, but why? You're Green Day. Like you don't have to do that. Just write a Green Day album.
Yeah, I haven't heard that song, but I know that it's getting shit on pretty heavily on social media.
It is not good, and I'm very forgiving with bands who a Green Day who's earned my trust over there. Even the albums I don't like, it's still Green Day to me.
Right.
But this new one, nah. Whereas Blink-182, I think 9 is right now arguably my favorite Blink album.
Is that a new album?
It's the one that came out like last summer. And again, like it's one of those things where it's like if you listen to it with just an outside ear, it sounds like they're desperately trying to be relevant. But I think that they incorporated that well into their sound to bring it back to Get Up Kids. That album, I don't think they did. Like it sounded like an attempt to, hey, let's push us, let's break that wall, let's get through. And it didn't do it well.
No.
So
nailed it.
All right, so Ryan put out Satellite. I'm going to, you know what, I'll stay on that album. Let's see if we can find each other again. How about Break Lines?
Nope.
I cut it, but that was probably the second to last cut. I love that song.
All right, so it wasn't way out of the realm. I wasn't way off base with it. All right, Adam?
How about Stay Gone? I think that's the second track off.
I got it.
What album was that?
I don't.
On a Wire.
On a Wire.
Yep. Stay Gone goes into the conversation. And with that, gentlemen, we are officially out of NTP. It's gone. Worst case scenario at this point, the 5 that are in the conversation fill out our 10. That's worst case scenario. All right, Ryan?
I'll stay on that album. Walking on a Wire.
No.
Oh, that one hurts. That's one of my favorite Get Up Kid songs right there.
Oh,
so sorry,
see?
man.
I mean, I'm glad you didn't preface, but you should have known, my friend. You should have known by now. Anytime, if you preface it with, it's my favorite, it's in the trash, almost guaranteed on this show. But if you have it somewhere in your heart, it's probably going to end up in the trash too. Because
I just love the vibe of that song. It's definitely different from the rest of what they do, but man, it's very atmospheric, I feel like. But yeah, I love that song.
Hey, Ryan, what does it feel like to be so wrong?
Oh man.
All right, I'm going to trot out another one from the first record. Last Place You Look.
I do not have that.
Nope.
Okay, on my own. That's all right. I am less stressed about the list now. So, Adam?
How about Lou Barlow?
No.
Nope. I had 2 late cuts on that album, and it was Break Lines, and then that one.
I'm a little relieved. I do like the song, but I'm a little relieved.
It was, if I had to guess, top 30 for me.
Mm-hmm.
And then as I was cutting through, I was like, well, I like these ones a little bit more. So, all right, Ryan?
I'll go to the first album, Coming Clean.
No.
I don't have it, but that's so good.
Yeah, another opening track.
So now we're getting to the misses, which is okay because we're okay. We're okay. I don't know where I want to go. We trot out something from Guilt Show. Martyr Me.
No, that was close, but no for me.
Nope.
Okay. All right. All right, Adam?
Yeah, let's try to axe off another. I've got a couple from Guilt Show. Let me try to axe some of those off. Sympathy.
Nope.
Yep.
Okay. Into the convo. We actually have a discussion here. All right, Ryan?
I'm a loner, Dottie, a rebel.
God.
Yeah.
I don't.
Oh.
But, oh, God. It was probably 22, 21.
That build up to that first line it's so good. That's a banger right there for sure.
Oh, yeah.
If I'm being honest, I was worried I was pulling it through because of the name.
It is a cool name.
I love a good Pee Wee reference.
Yeah.
And I was worried that I was like, I don't want to pull through just because it's a Pee Wee reference. I want to make sure it's on the merit of the song. And I was like, okay, well, just in case, let me axe it. Now I feel bad. But if there's a leader in the clubhouse for going through, I'm looking at Loner. All right, I'm down to my last 8 here. I don't know where you guys are at, but
I'm about there too.
And I got 2 that are guaranteed misses. Probably. I'll come back to problems. The problem is me.
Nope.
I do have that.
Oh, all right. Into the combo. Now it's starting to get a little more difficult. All right.
But I won't fight for it. I just want to let you know.
That's how I feel about, because we got one from, we'll get there. All right, Adam?
Red Letter Day.
Do I really not? I really don't.
It's got that line, you're just a phase I've gotten over anyhow.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like, oh, it hurts your heart. Feels good.
Do you have a preference to which version? The EPs or the...
It's got to be the album version. The
yeah.
Something to Write Home About.
For sure.
All right.
The other one's a little wonky.
Oh, yeah. I had both at one point, just for the record.
Yeah. What were you going to do with both?
Well, then I was weighing them against each other, and then I had the album one a little bit longer, and at this point I can't tell you why I cut it, but hey, it goes into the combo, so that's all right. All right, Ryan?
I'll take the last one I have off the first album, Better Half.
No.
Nope.
Kind of another slower one.
All right.
That's the, if I'm not mistaken, that's the Get Up Kids answer to Better Man by Pearl Jam.
Oh.
Is it?
It is not.
Oh. You should have definitely syphil and ollied that. You should have just left it. I would have. You know what? I'm going to trot these out, even though I'm pretty sure there was 2 that still made it through from their rules. And I think now's the time to Birmingham.
No.
Nope.
Yeah, that's okay. All right, Adam?
Okay, I brought through one from There Are Rules. I think this is from There Are Rules. And I hope nobody has it. Rememberable.
No.
Nope.
No. No. I looked at that name and it made me angry.
Trying to spell it out on this paper made me angry.
All right. Ryan?
Out of Reach.
No.
It should have been on my list, but it's not.
There it is. All right. I'm going to trot out my last one from Something to Write Home About. Action in Action.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right.
I'm down for whatever.
There we go. We got 6 through. All right, Adam?
Holy Roman.
No.
Nope.
Very, very late cut. Very, very late cut.
Look me in the eyes and say the world's not gonna end. Good line.
That was the line. I was like, oh God, that's good. That was the line. Something about that album, I loved it. And to me, it was the risk that There Are Rules was supposed to be, because it still sounds like Guilt Show still sounds like a Get Up Kids record, where like they expounded their boundaries a little bit, bringing in some piano and stuff. And I was like, yeah, that's great. Whereas There Are Rules is like, nah, maybe you're trying too hard.
Yeah, yeah, that's right. It's Guilt Show is a decent album.
Yeah. All right. Ryan?
Company Dime.
I don't have it.
Nope. Shoot. Well.
I think I'm down to my last two.
Oh, wow.
I've only got one more.
Oh, okay. So I'll clear mine out after this. I'll clear out my last one from Guilt Show. In Your Sea.
No.
It was on the list, but no, it got
Okay.
cut.
All right. Adam?
Also from Guilt Show, How Long Is Too Long?
Oh, I love that song, but no, I don't have it.
All right. Did you say that was your last one?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so Adam's out. Ryan?
And you said you're done with Something to Write Home About, and my last two are on that album.
Oh.
I'll clear them out. Long Good Night and I'll Catch You. Two slow burners.
Good ones, though.
And just like that, we literally played all but one song from that record. That stuff interests me. I love seeing where
What song?
My Apology.
Oh, yeah, I do love that song, but yeah.
Makes sense. All right, so my last four, just to put them out there: 1 Year Later, Grunge Pig, Tithe, and Fairweather Friends.
I love When You
Grunge Pig was my last cut.
Oh, well, I'm glad I didn't play it, because that would have hurt. So archive that list. All right, so we have 6 through. Holiday, Mass Pike, Don't Hate Me, 10 Minutes, Satellite, Action in Action.
It's a good list so far.
Yes. And we got to get 4 more from, let's see, we got to make 5 more cuts. So these are the 9. Woodson, The Worst Idea, Close to Home, I'm a Loner Dottie, A Rebel, Red Letter Day, Forgive and Forget, Stay Gone, Sympathy, The Problem Is Me. Do we care at all about album representation, or do we want to just present the 10?
To me, we want the 10.
Okay. How you feeling on that, Ryan?
Yeah, I think the 10. I usually care about album representation, but
To be fair,
I think we should just go with the top 10. Yeah.
To be fair, we already have a solid representation. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 of the albums represented already. So,
What do we have anything through from On a Wire?
no, we have Stay Gone and The Worst Idea made it into this round. So I don't know.
mean, I think I picked The Worst Idea, so I'd vote for that to go through on a Wire.
I'm with that. I mean, obviously I had it, so it depends on, can we sway Adam?
Can we come back to it?
We can come back to it, absolutely. The EPs, let's make sure. I'm trying to make sure I have everything. Actually, the only thing, again, depending on album representation or not, Guilt Show is Sympathy. The only thing that landed this far. Is it strong enough to be? Actually, Adam already said this. I had it as well. The Problem Is Me. We can go ahead and cut, right?
Yeah, we had Satellite from that album.
Yeah, Satellite came through, and I feel like that's all the representation we need from that album. So, and clearly, the list says that. So, so we have 4 more to get. Now the question is, do we want anything from Guilt Show or not? Because if we do, if we feel strong about it, Sympathy is the only thing there.
Again, I keep thinking we should have album representation, but I'm I'm down for just coming up with a top 10 and disregarding that. So
Yeah.
I don't know what you guys think, but I'd cut that.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm with that.
I think we have some stronger songs in the list here.
And sometimes that's the way more important part. All right, so we need 4 out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we need to cut 3 more. I want to hear one that you feel like at this point doesn't belong, Adam. Woodson, Forgive and Forget, The Worst Idea, Stay Gone, Close to Home, I'm a Loner, Dottie a Rebel, Red Letter Day.
This is the worst day of my life. Man. Oof.
Right?
Boy. I guess Forgive and Forget.
Oof. See, that was going to be the ones I'm going to fight for, but I guess that'd be your number one cut. So you'd like to have a representation from On a Wire?
No. That's not what I'm saying. Wait, what were the On the Wire songs?
The Worst Idea and Stay Gone.
No, I'd be happier losing both of those than Forgive and Forget, but I don't know what I was thinking. Yeah, I could lose either or both of those.
Okay, so it sounds like Stay Gone is gone.
Yeah, but I'm gonna say keep the Worst Idea around.
Yeah.
I don't want to just load. I mean, something to write home about. If you want to get into the Get Up Kids, you should just listen to that album front to back.
Mm-hmm.
But I'd say keep the Worst Idea around for a little bit longer.
Okay, keep the Worst Idea, but you're gonna have to trade me for it in a little bit. I'll get to that.
Ooh. Well, I'll give you the one I'll definitely fight for. I mean, I'm a Loner, Dottie a Rebel is my number one on this list right now.
Okay, so you guys both had that, and it was a super late cut for me. So, like I said, I really only cut it because of the name. I thought I was... So let's press that one through. So that gives us 7. We need 3 of these. Woodson, Forgive and Forget, The Worst Idea, Close to Home, Red Letter Day. Are any of those feeling like, okay, you made it this far, but nah, you've seen enough?
No.
And there we go.
Absolutely not.
Yep, agreed.
All right.
So I think we should turn to Justin here, who's the newbie to the Get Up Kids, and I'd like to hear what you're thinking right about now.
Well, so 4 of these I had. Red Letter Day was the only one I didn't have, and it was a late cut. Now, of these 5, The Worst Idea is the one that sticks out the most. Like I recall it. I've got it caught in my head a couple times. Now, whether or not does that make it list worthy, or is that exactly what we're looking for here? Do we want to get in people's heads and make them think about the song later?
I keep coming back to album representation, and right now our only song post 1999, well, I guess besides the EPs, is gonna be Satellite.
Mm-hmm.
Is that right?
Yeah. Yep. Now, see, that's a very valid point. We've been going on and on and on about how even the discography is, other than the one record, and other than Satellite, we don't have anything that shows that.
It's actually not that even of a discography. The problem is that they made this amazing album. They shouldn't have done that.
They kind of shot themselves in the foot.
Yeah, what were they thinking?
Hey,
but again, it comes back to how I got into the band. I did not like On a Wire on my first pass. It took me a couple of years to even give it another try. So if our goal is to get someone to even listen to the band, I think we're doing that pretty well represented with the earlier stuff right now.
Mm-hmm. So you mentioned that there was a trade that you were thinking about putting out there, Adam.
You want me to talk about that now?
Yeah, what are you thinking?
Okay, Woodson is the thing I think we should keep. Even though it's from an earlier album and it is like clearly the production is much, much lower. It's an incredible song, and also like you can turn to it and go like, this is where that band came from. Like, this is how they sounded. This is how all bands sounded, where they were coming from. And like, it really means something. Like, there's some roots in that song.
I can get behind it.
Okay. So
And I could think if we're doing that, we're probably going to cut Forgive and Forget.
I would say either Forgive and Forget or Red Letter Day would have to be.
I love Red Letter Day, but I think we should cut that and leave Forgive and Forget in the discussion.
all right, so let's drop Red Letter Day. So where are we at? 8. One of these has to go.
Out of which?
Forgive and Forget, The Worst Idea, Close to Home. One has to go.
I mean, there's one glaringly obvious cut right there.
But you're arguing that I think Worst Idea is what you're saying. But I would argue. I mean, you're arguing that like there's not really anything from later stuff. So how do you, if you're going to get somebody in the Get Up Kids, we've got them in the early stuff. But how do you keep them moving forward? And your thought is like keep the Worst Idea so they can see that there's more good stuff coming.
Yes, precisely. And I mean, at this point now, there's 2 in from the EPs, Mass Pike and Woodson. Again, while that may not, and we also have what 1, 2, 3. We have 4 from their best album. Something to write home about.
I could lose Close to Home.
Okay. You said
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, that is the first song I heard by them, and it kind of got me into the band. But there's definitely, I'd say, some stronger songs on that album.
Well, okay, so let's do this. Let's balance these 3 against, because I mean, I'm with it. Forgive and Forget, The Worst Idea, I'm with it. Let's balance what we have versus these 3. So here's the ones we have in already: Holiday, Mass Pike, Don't Hate Me, 10 Minutes, Satellite, Action in Action, I'm a Loner Dottie, A Rebel, and Woodson. I think at this point we've sold Adam on The Worst Idea. So really the fight is between Forgive and Forget and Close to Home, right?
I don't think we sold him. I think he's just going along with it for right now.
Yeah, Ryan, you're 100% right. But if I'm being completely frank, I don't remember what Worst Idea sounds like.
Oh.
So if I like heard it, maybe I'd have like a little more connection to it. But I just can't remember.
I feel like I can fix that.
No, I don't know how we would fix that. There's no real way to listen to music.
Yeah, you can never listen to music. Hold on. There it is. Pull that one back a little. This never helps the conversation, but
I know why I don't remember it.
oh,
It's got a great chorus hook, though.
let me scoot forward a little. I do like how, like, the more mature sounding Get Up Kid song kind of like, they're not exactly, but they live in that vein of like the grown up Not a Surf stuff, like the
Oh, good call.
right, like
Yeah.
it's not exact, it's not
No.
not one for one,
No.
but they live next to each other. I think
That's a really good call. Did you do a Not a Surf episode?
I did, but I need to do another one
You need to do another one.
because we. I had John Golden from the Daycations
Uh-huh.
on to do that one, but it was just the 2 of us, and the same reason we need to do Smashing Pumpkins over again. It was a 2-person panel, and I still hadn't figured out what the show was. So, like, I feel like those bands need to be revisited. But bringing it back to the Get Up Kids,
Right.
did that help or worsen the case for Worst Idea for you, Adam?
Boy.
He's fighting us on this one.
He is.
You know, I don't want to fight over it. I don't. I mean, it's oh god. So it's either got to be Worst Idea, Forgive and Forget. What are the other ones that we're
Close to Home.
Is it close to home?
One has to go.
One has to go. And what are you guys arguing for? Close to Home.
Now, and honestly, it's an unfair reason because when I look at the list, I feel like we have that album really well represented. While that's not always, that doesn't always give us the best 10, I think the case does need to be made that after the EPs, there is good stuff, and
Yeah, you're right.
it doesn't drop there. Like, they still do really good albums.
And you think that Worst Idea is the best idea in terms of representing them?
I don't, honestly. I
I
think
don't-
there's
yeah.
much better songs on a wire, but
I agree.
that's the only one we have through right now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's the only one that's left.
All right. Well, I can dig it.
All right. So we're going to lose Close to Home then?
Is that what you were saying, Ryan? Were you saying Close to Home or Forgive and Forget? I don't remember.
I'd say Close to Home because we already have most of that album represented. If someone checks them out, they're going to get to Close to Home.
Yeah.
Forgive and Forget definitely sounds like a something to write home about song that isn't on the album. And I love that song anyways. That's one of my favorite Get Up Kids songs.
All right.
So, I mean, when you look at this list, I feel like the only one that got through based on album representation rather than just the merits of the song is The Worst Idea.
Yeah, and I kind of don't. Again, I think there's stronger songs on that album. If I were to pick one from that album, it'd probably be like Walking on a Wire or Campfire Kansas, one of those two songs. I don't know. I might side with Adam on this one.
Of course you would. After I already put it through. How dare you, sir? So this is what we got for our 10. And just understand that you're not going to go wrong in this discography other than there are rules. Don't start there. I think we've stated enough that it's, to me, it fit within the discography, but it's the clear low liar. It was my absolute least favorite of their records. I was very forgiving with some of the sound choices they made, but I think I'm saying a lot when I say that. So, here's what we got for our 10. Holiday, Mass Pike, Don't Hate Me, 10 Minutes, Satellite, Action in Action, I'm a Loner Dottie, A Rebel, Woodson, Forgive and Forget, The Worst Idea. All right, I'm going to put the heat on, Ryan. What's the one?
Can I make one suggestion here?
Okay.
We have nothing from Guilt Show, right?
We do not.
Adam, did you have Sympathy from Guilt Show?
I did.
Now, how do we feel about that as opposed to The Worst Idea?
Into it.
All right. Well, I mean, I didn't have it, but that doesn't really mean anything. So let's lose The Worst Idea because Sympathy was in the discussion. It just didn't get talked about a lot. So let's put that one through. I feel stronger about it as opposed to, presenting The Worst Idea. Even though I love the tune, I feel stronger about something that you two feel stronger about.
Yeah, I'm definitely. I would. Yeah, I'd be more likely to listen to this list of 10 with Sympathy on it.
Okay, so we lost The Worst Idea, which may have been a first. We lost The Worst Idea and added Sympathy.
We're here to do the hard work, right?
Yes.
Yeah, pulling it out of the trash. I haven't heard that before.
Yeah, I mean it's I'm sure it's happened, but never at that level. Like, I think there's been a couple times where Fredo brought something to the table and in this round where like it wasn't even part of the discussion. Mm-hmm. And so, all right, Ryan, what's the one? Heat's back on.
Oof, that's rough. Now there's songs that I think are definitely probably if you've heard the Get Up Kids, you might have heard, let's say, Holiday, 10 Minutes. I'd go with I'm a Loner Dottie, A Rebel. I love the build up to the beginning of that song. I think it has to be something off.
Yes.
Something to write home about.
Absolutely has
for
to.
sure.
Adam, do you have?
Now, is this the favorite, like my favorite of this list, or is this like the one that I think that if you've never heard them, listen to this one first?
That's what it is. And just as an aside, so this will also be the representation in the Best of 2020 next year.
I would say if you've never heard them, I mean, what Ryan just said is exactly right on. But if you've never ever heard them, listen to Holiday first.
See, that's what I was leaning because
I'm with that.
In the discography, I listened to the first album, and while I did pull a lot through initially from the first album, the second I heard Holiday, I was like, oh, this is what they can do. Mm-hmm. And so it completely changed my perception of their production, of them as a band, they roped me in from that point on. So I think that's if we play Holiday for somebody, they're gonna go, oh, like have that same feeling of getting roped in, as opposed to I had the first album before I got there. But
Right. If they like that song, they will probably like the Get Up Kids. If they don't,
Yes.
don't listen to anything else.
yeah, and that's the fairest of points. Yes, because that's a Get Up Kids song. Even though Ryan mentioned that if you've heard of the Get Up Kids, you've probably heard Holiday.
Mm-hmm.
I think more people have probably not heard of the Get Up Kids than have.
Mm-hmm.
To their dismay, I'm sure that's true.
Oh yeah,
I agree.
I mean,
you
unfortunately-
can't really beat that for an album opener too. Just to grab you right off the bat.
Mm-hmm.
A monstrous like double pick slide up the guitar into that heavy riff right at the beginning. Yeah, that's the one, I think.
Well, like you said, like that song is so Justin. Like it's got everything I want in an album open, and it roped me in. I hate to repeat myself, but it did. So here we go then. Holidays are number 1 with a bullet. I'm a Loner, Dottie a Rebel. Mass Pike, Don't Hate Me, 10 Minutes, Satellite, Action in Action, Woodson, Forgive and Forget, and Sympathy. Now, Ryan, you're up for a good number of them. I don't know which one's going to be next, but I'm balancing a lot of plates right now, so I'm not sure what's coming down the pike, as it were.
We've been talking about the Mars Volta for a while. You brought up the Pumpkins. I need to be on the Pumpkins one. I mean, they're my number 1.
Same.
All time.
Well, what's funny about the Pumpkins is like a lot of people like fall off at Machina. I do not.
Ooh.
I really
I did. There are a few tunes I like post Machina, but yeah, that's tough. When you did the original one, you only did first 5 albums.
I don't remember where we stopped, because I feel like I know I had stuff from Oceania. I know for a fact I did, but I don't remember where we stopped. Well, and the other thing was, again, at that point, I feel bad for Daniel, because like I'm throwing all these B-sides at him, and he's like, no.
I know you were pulling out like the obscure like French movie theme, or like Paul César, like all these random Pumpkin songs that no one's gonna know. Well, I mean, I know them, but to a casual fan, yeah.
Yeah, and I led with "Set the Rated Jerry," which is my favorite song of all time. Period. Probably.
I'm right there with you. I mean,
so, like having, I should have learned there. Never lead with your favorite. Because I was crushed. And then, like, I immediately knew, oh no, I'm just a dick for pulling all these B-sides. I should have thought about it a little more.
You guys, I do not like the Smashing Pumpkins.
It happens.
Ooh.
No, I get it.
I understand why people like I'll tell people they're my favorite band, and if they tell me they don't like them, I'm not like appalled or anything. I mean, his voice right off the bat can turn people off.
Absolutely. And
yeah. It's not that. I genuinely don't like the songs, and I really tried. I promise.
Oh, wow. Okay. No, I tried to, a long time ago, I would have gotten the bristles up, and I would have gotten offended and been like, how dare you, sir? But
I know.
As I've gotten older, I've realized not everybody likes the Pumpkins. And I used to get in fights online, like we were talking about MySpace and stuff, and where people would like, come to crush. And it's like, yeah, but Machina's great. It's like, okay, I love Machina. I get if nobody else does. Yeah, whatever, man. I like it. That's what matters to me. I like what I like. You like what you like.
Thanks for being so supportive. Can I say another controversial thing?
Okay.
This is about the Get Up Kids. When I listen to a lot of Get Up Kids stuff, I think that a lot of these songs could be Gin Blossom's songs.
Oh.
They're not that dissimilar, and I just want to put that out there. I want everyone to think about that.
Now, well, it's funny you say that, because like I put some of the later work into like that Not a Surf category, which is not that far off from the Gin Blossoms anyway. But I never would have. Yeah. I would have never grabbed Gin Blossoms.
That's what reminded me of it. They've got that sort of like swanky, drum thing coming, going through, and it's a very similar kind of guitar driven sound.
What's funny is we don't have you on for any other panels yet. Would you? Number one, you're up for Not a Surf.
Uh-huh.
So like whenever I figure out how to do the redos, You're up for Not a Surf.
Great.
Would you be up for Gin Blossoms?
1,000%.
Because I think my wife put the Gin Blossoms out there, and nobody's jumped on it yet.
Oh yeah, I've done a Gin Blossoms cover band.
Yes, I remember. Yes,
we did 2 shows. It was the best time of my life.
I couldn't do a Smashing Pumpkins cover band. I couldn't. As much as I love the songs, and there's like a good dozen to 20 that I can play, even quote unquote really well. Playing it in front of people would be like, yeah, nah.
Would you wear the cloak?
Yes.
The long black.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or a
Shave your
dress.
head.
I would not shave my head. I have a funny shaped head. So like as close as I am right now, like that's as close as I'm gonna get. All right, well, we've wasted a lot of gold material here. We'll figure out where everybody's gonna be, and I'll do that off air. Is where I should do that. But the Get Up Kids, learn them and love them, people. We'll see you next week. Goodbye.